Joining me now, Judge Andrew Napolitano, Tammy Bruce, Julie Roginsky, and Mark Serrano. Judge, I'll start with you, not from a legal perspective perhaps, because I know that you wear a couple of hats here. But you got one ship disabled, another ship goes to help. The Iranian Revolutionary Guard takes them both captive. They've detained them both. We should let the audience know, 9 male, 1 female. Is this an international act of aggression? Or is it too early to make that as sort of assessment?
Probably too early to make the assessment. If the situation were reversed, I'm sure the American military would do the same thing. It is certainly a black eye for the president tonight. I don't know how he's going to resolve this in the next 2.5 hours. But in terms of finding a foreign ship in an area you claim to be yours, you have the right to stop it and board it.
Julie, perhaps that's the case, but it appears it's gone on for a few hours now. We'll obviously get more details. They take them to an unmanned island, a sort of deserted island, it's Farsi Island, and the American public is worried. We started the day off with a bombing in Tunisia, Istanbul rather, and of course the targets were Westerners, primarily German tourists. We feel very unsafe, and we feel like we've lost a little bit of that strength. We're going to get a State of the Union address tonight. National security, #1. Global security, #2. This doesn't feel like it.
Well, it certainly doesn't help the president. The judge is absolutely right about that. But let's put in perspective what's going on in Iran right now, why this is relevant. What's happening right now is that there's a critical election happening in Iran next month. And that election will determine the eventual successor to their supreme leader. One of the people running is the grandson of the Ayatollah Khomeini, who is actually a moderate relatively compared to the other people. And so what this is to me is a domestic, it seems more like a domestic strike at the moderates by the Iranian by the Iranian Revolutionary Guard than it is a message to us. Doesn't excuse it, doesn't mean that's the right thing to do, but to me it seems more like a domestic policy issue. The problem for this president, as you've well pointed out, is that he's got to give a speech where I would suspect he was going to allude to the success of his foreign policy related to the Iranian nuclear deal. That becomes more challenging.
Although, Tammy, arguing that we've had any true success with Iran, particularly with this amazing deal that we've cut with them, they get they get the clock running on nuclear power. They get $100 to $150 billion. Their belligerence hasn't stopped. It didn't stop during the negotiating process. Didn't stop after they signed the deal. It hasn't stopped moments before they get the big check.
Yeah, look, I mean, with this kind of relationship, at least even if you don't like each other, you can pick up the phone. There is to take effectively 10 American hostages. They also, of course, have not released the Americans they're holding in prison currently. You can't look at this any differently until we know their status and when they've been released. The White House is trying to say this wasn't hostile. Well, of course it's hostile. What else is it going to be? When it's supposed to be our friends, you can say, hey, you got 2 boats here. You need to get them out of the area now. You better move quickly. Especially because of that new deal.
By the way,
we've
got a, this is a picture. You're looking at what the ships look like right there. So 2 of those have been seized. One was disabled. The other came to assist it, and both were seized by the Iranian forces. Judge, again, you think, though, it's premature in the grand scheme of things from a legal point of view, but from the optics point of view of it.
Well, from the optics point of view, it looks terrible. It looks just as my colleagues are saying, like Iran is still the aggressor, no matter what they're trying to accomplish, no matter what kind of a relationship John Kerry has with his opposite number. They will take advantage of any opportunity to embarrass the United States, whether it's for domestic political gain or because they really believe that somehow we're a threat to them.
Well, it's their nature,
it's almost
right?
inconceivable.